Alright guys, in this video we're going to learn a little bit about Illustrator, and I say a little bit because very little. And I just want you to understand that we're only covering about 1% of the program here, but here's some basics that you need to know. This color, the white, is the fill color. That's going to be the inside of any shapes that we make. So let's go up here and let's make a shape so we can talk about it. If we go to the polygonal tool, that means many sides, right? It's not a square and it's not going to be a circle or a rectangle or oval, which would be the ellipse tool or the rectangular tool. This will give you a rectangle with rounded corners, but we want the polygonal tool. Now instead of trying to draw out a shape, which will just make whatever the shape is here, which has 6 sides, I want a triangle. So what I'm going to do is just click my mouse one time. It allows me to choose how many sides I want. I only want 3. I click OK, and it gave me a 3-sided object. I can use the black arrow, that is the selection tool, to make it bigger. Just change the angles a little bit, right? And I can go to the corners and I can make it spin. Now if you watch the corners, you'll see that they turn. That's going to resize it, but if I get the arrow that looks like it's spinning, if I can get there, I can hold down the shift key and turn that, and it will only turn it at 45-degree angles, so I can make sure that I am getting it exactly straight up and down, which is what I want. I want a nice flat surface up here. Now here's another really cool trick in Illustrator. I can duplicate this, kind of like copying and pasting, but if I just hold down my Option key on the keyboard, I can drag this off to the side, and now I have 2 of them. Cool, right? So now I have 2 of the exact same shape. I'm going to make this bigger. Again, I'm going to hold down the shift key when I do this, and that makes it bigger in the same direction, in the same proportions. And I'm just going to select them both. I'm making a box around them both so I can move them together up on the page just a little bit. If I click outside of that, they're not selected anymore. The other way to do this would be to hold down the shift key, and that'll let me select more than one thing also. Or hold down the shift key and click, and it lets me get rid of one of the shapes that I have selected in the group. So one of the easy ways to do this, and I'm just going to select the whole thing so I have the whole thing, you'll see all these alignment tools come up. I want it to be right in the middle of my page, and I want both of them. I want this triangle centered in this triangle. Instead of using my eyeballs to figure it out, I can use the ruler on top, or even more simple, I can click this button, which will align everything from side to side. Okay, and so these are my alignment tools. They only show up if you have more than one object selected. You can use the alignment tools in a different way, but we're not going to cover that in this video. Now, this is important because the next tool I'm going to show you only works if you have everything selected. I'm going to make one more shape or one more object I'm going to put on the screen, and it's just a square. I'm going to make it, actually it's not a square, it's a rectangle. So I'm just going to make it a little bigger, maybe like that. Okay? And this is the important part. When we're on our selection tool, we're going to grab a big square and select the whole thing. So now all of my shapes are selected together. That is very important, or this will not work. The Shape Builder tool, which is right here, is an awesome tool, because what I can do is I can combine all these shapes. Or if I hold down my Option key again, notice how the plus sign goes to a minus sign. I'm not combining, I'm subtracting now. So I go to these two together, and actually we're not going to do that. I got rid of my whole shape. I'm going to undo that. I'm going to go for my little triangle, just the tip of it, hold down my Option key, and I'm going to subtract it from the big triangle. And then I'm going to do the same thing with the big triangle, and I'm going to subtract the whole thing. And now I'm going to combine things. So I'm not holding down the Option key now. I'm just grabbing my arrow and pulling it from one side to the next. Every little line that's combined is going away. And you'll notice I have a different shape now. This is one shape altogether. If I go back to my selection tool, I can grab the corners. I can make this bigger or smaller, whatever I want. I can change the proportions. I can drag it around. But I can also do this. This is where this little white arrow comes in. This is the direct selection tool. If I double click on one of these little dots in the corner, I can drag just the dot wherever I want the dot to go. And so that's how you can manipulate the shape if you're just looking to manipulate the shape. Okay, so now I've got this whole thing going on. If that's not what I want, I can undo, and I'm just doing the Command Z in order to undo. But there's one more thing I want to show you. I'm going to my regular selection tool, and I'm going to go down here to my fill color, which is the white. And I just double clicked on it. It gives me these options. I can make it so it's only web option, colors, or let's see, we're going to click outside of that, click back in, and it up here it shows me this little white box. I can change it to whatever I want. And so now I've got the inside this color, the outside, which is the stroke color. I'm going to make a different color just so we can say we did. And click on that, and you can't see it because it's very small, but I changed it to red. Let's make it so you can see it. We're going to increase the size a little bit. We're going to make it 6. Now you can see the outline, you can see the middle, and we just combined shapes, and we also subtracted shapes. This is the basics of what you're going to need to know. It automatically creates layers over here, so don't worry about the layers if you're a beginner today. Good luck, and I hope this helped.